Welcome back, everybody, to Your Little Castle Show, where we get to highlight leaders in the community who are doing their thing to make this planet a little bit better place. Do you agree with that? We talked about the tree thing, man. I've always been afraid. As a kid, I used to climb trees like we talked about in show number one. If you guys missed show number one, I learned so much in that show. I just feel like now I can safely call somebody to do any problems I have with trees. I'm going to have you look at one of my trees. I'll take it over to the house real quick before we leave, and it's down not far from where we're at, and you can see this. Show me what we're talking. But when you get into this stuff, you better do it right. So watch that first show, everybody. Lots of great information here. R&C Tree Experts, rc-tree.com. Carroll House Furniture, because you like nice things in your beautiful house that likely has some trees around it. And if you're going to have a great house on the inside with beautiful furniture, you better make sure the outside, or else you end up with tree limbs on your house and the furniture gets wet because you didn't take care of the trees. So thank you, Brooke and Amy, Carroll House Furniture, because you like nice things. Where you like nice things in your little castle. All right, let's get back in here and talk about these experts that we've brought into the building today for show number 2, because they do know what they're talking about. We got through. I have questions. We all have questions. I have questions. I want to know what you're doing here. I want to learn. Hopefully this helps a lot of people realize the importance, and so they don't bother you all the time and say, hey, I get it. Watch the interview, everybody. These guys are really, and then you're going to go, I can trust these guys. They know what they're talking about. And so will you guys take this? I'm going to give this interview, put on your website.
Sure.
Is that cool?
Sounds good.
All right. And your social media. And everywhere that people need to learn about making sure they do this right, because you got to protect that house. That's the most valuable asset just about everybody has. What's the one thing that really you would argue when it comes down to it that sets you guys apart? There's a lot of tree trimming, tree cutting, tree experts out there. Not a lot, but there's a few. What sets you guys apart? Obviously, you guys are very good at what you do. We invited you by doing some research, and we figured out you guys know what you're doing. That's why we invited you. What sets you apart?
I'd say first would have to be 35 years of combined experience. Okay. I mean, without experience, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble. I mean, you need to know what you're doing, how to tackle things. I would say second after that, specialized equipment for getting in people's backyards, getting to trees that are taller, things like that. And we sat and started out with the same type of tree trucks you would have like at the power company, because that's what we first knew when we first started trimming, and then realized, well, if we get track machines, we can get in the backyards. We'd like taller so we can go after taller trees and be safer and not have to do, as much weight when we rope down, and that makes jobs safer and things like that. We started getting tracked little machines to go in and grab wood and bring it out in small pieces instead of taking down fences to bring in log trucks to pick it up. But so we went from bigger equipment to more specialized equipment. I think that helps set you apart.
Okay.
Because it's just less of a footprint we leave when we do go in and do work at someone's house.
Well, what I put on the wall behind you, everybody, just to show it off a little bit, Robert and Coty may not like this, but we took a picture of them in the studio. This is where this interview is going to go. And so if you want to watch this thing, there's 2 of them actually, go to the website. You can save yourself a lot of time, a lot of hassle, a lot of frustration going back and forth, and who do I call? Maybe they'll tell me something over the phone, but they wanted me to come out to the house before they'll tell me everything. These guys are sharing their knowledge right here in studio, and you can watch the whole thing on their website. That's important. I think that's valuable for a lot of people, because they're done at work at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then they're tired. They don't want to call. You guys probably take calls. What's the latest somebody calls you guys?
We take calls 24/7.
24/7
we have
emergencies?
Storm work, any type of damage that homeowners have any time of the night or day. Give us a call and we'll get out there and get it off your house and get it tarped up if we need to, or whatever it is.
And then find the other information so you're not bothering these guys. I mean, they'll answer the calls. I hate to say that, but none of us like to bother people to say, oh, wow, I just watched the video. Now I know all the trade secret things I should be worried about and how these guys make sure they do it right. And they explained it in some way like they were talking to me face to face, but happened to be on a little camera. Robert mentioned me. He's like, man, I'm being on camera. I don't know. I said, don't worry about it, man. You're going to be great. Do you know what you do? Of course you do. And we're going to have a conversation. So these guys, thanks for coming here to talk with us. Coty, tell me, man, when you're working with clients, when you're at people, you're at their home, what are some of the first things you take into regard to make sure you're doing the job correctly?
I just like I try to get to know them, get a feel for them, and then I like to know what's around me, what's around the area. Is there a doghouse? Is there a fence? Is there power lines? Stuff like that. I'd like to know where to park my equipment.
Very good things. All those are like real obvious for the guys who are doing the work, but half of those things I wouldn't have thought of. I'm like, why does it matter if I got a dog? Because you might run out underneath your equipment or something.
Yep, get hit by a limb.
May not have a dog much longer, and nobody wants to lose their doggies. I have 2 beautiful doggies that I had for 13 years. Got them as long as they were huskies. I said they were big dogs, but yeah, take care of the pets. Take care. Power lines. I guess how many people don't even think about that? Is that most of the time?
There's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the power lines are kind of out of the way. You don't really, they're there, but you don't think about them. Like, oh, let's just. Hey, what are you doing today? I'm going to look out. I'm going to go look at my power lines today. What are you doing? Right.
They go to every house. So
just about in America, about every house has power. I guess there's a few exceptions. Somewhere out in the who knows where in the United States, but yeah, those are important things too, and we want to make sure. So as far as setting yourselves apart from the rest, summarize it for me real quick if you would, Robert.
From the rest, I just say I'd like to reiterate that it's having the knowledge to be able to sit and do the work, and then having specialized equipment to be able to get in and do it even safer and not do damage and stuff to property.
Yeah. And you're not one of those guys that's all over the place with all kinds of marketing and technology and all these wonderful things. And I'm going to help you with some of that stuff that's necessary. But that drives up costs. Everything that you do for marketing does add to the cost. And I would recommend some certain things. Be very strategic. But watch out. And I love the guys who advertise like crazy, but they're just by volume. They're trying to make up for that, right? That's what they do. If you advertise like crazy, by volume, you got to make up for that. And then the other thing, and the reason I emphasize is work with the local smaller businesses is because I'm working with the owner. He's sitting right here. And you get to talk to the other owner who's sitting right here. And that's when you get the owner that you're talking to personally. When there's a problem, I don't have to go up the chain to try to figure out and call somebody else who talks to somebody else who puts me on hold. They can text or call you directly.
Yep.
You too, Coty?
Yep.
That's what we like to see and the big advantage you get by working with small business owners. Tell me then, as people get into this, we might have covered this a little bit already, but again, we like to have, because we take these interviews, everybody, we cut them up in clips too and give them to our guests to put on their social media. So what we talked about last half hour may not have shown up in this clip. It's probably summarized in a different way, but you got to get the information in front of people. How do you do that? Repetition. People need to see things 7 times before they remember it. Statistical data analysis for marketing purposes. But you got to get the information out there. Now you're your own broadcast medium company because of this whole interwebs thing. At least have a Facebook page. They've got one. At least have a website. They've got one. And then that's all you really need these days if you really just want to get the word out on your own, I think. Do a lot of more beyond that, but we'll get into some of the stuff you guys want to grow. We'll talk about some of those things. I can help you with all that. But if I was going to say, what's the big mistake somebody makes? Is it the do-it-yourselfer? Is it what is the biggest mistake people make when they go, I could do it myself? Or is it cutting back too much? We got our pencil here, everybody. I've had this on the table the whole time.
We have had some bad stories of people getting the ladders knocked out from underneath them, like we talked about on the first interview. But a lot of mistakes I sit and see is just the actual cuts and how they're made on the trees will actually do damage to the tree because they weren't cut to a proper lateral and done correctly. Like there'll be a bunch of stubs everywhere, and what people don't realize is if it's not growing no more, there's no limb on it that's alive, that rot goes all the way back to when that branch actually started growing as a little bitty sapling. So it'll make basically like a cone shape all the way in your tree for rot wise. So if you don't get that cut flush where it can heal over properly, it will start rotting the inside of your tree. And I see people going up cutting limbs all the time on their trees, and they leave all these stubs, and I'm thinking they're gonna,
And so what the problem is there, if I understand it, that causes the tree to rot, then the tree falls over. Halfway, why did the tree just crack halfway up the tree? Is there get invasion of insects that came in there? No, it's because they didn't cut off the thing right and it didn't heal. It's like we're injuring our trees a little bit. Trees are okay; their feelings aren't getting hurt here. But you, literally, that recovery for that tree, sap comes out, right? Mm. Is that how that works? And it heals that cut. No pain, but you don't do it right, then it does. I didn't realize that.
Yep, they can
it will start to deteriorate. And then that's where it will go. And when you have wood, everybody knows wood, tree is wood, right? It deteriorates, then it goes and falls over.
And a lot of times, too, a lot of people get is, since it's starting to rot on the inside of the tree, will actually get diseased then. Right. And then it can just basically, the whole tree will just die on you. And then you have a dead standing tree in your yard, which is not very safe either.
Coty, we don't like dead standing trees in the middle of our beautiful resort house, wherever we live, right?
They sure don't look pretty either.
How often are you pulling dead standing trees out?
We cut them out quite often.
What percentage of houses have a dead standing tree? I mean, I guess everybody's. If you got enough trees, you're going to have 2% of them that are whatever nature, whatever happened. Mm-hmm. Now you got to get that. That's where you do the stumps. They cut them down to the stump. Then you got to get a stump removal. We talked about that. First show, everybody talked about stump removal. Why that's important, because that can cause foundations to collapse or things to collapse into the ground because of those trees. The roots go all over the place.
Yep, end up with a hole in your yard.
Man. I try not to freak out too much about thinking about what could go wrong, but I was always trained by my father mostly and my mother. Be proactive. Think about the potential things that can go wrong. Mm-hmm. It makes your life a little easier if you just have a little preventative care.
Yep.
Very true for the tree industry, for people who might have trees in their yard.
Well, preventative maintenance is definitely something good to do. I mean, like I said, on the first interview, you can keep trees from growing certain ways. There's ways to trim them to keep them back so they don't ever go to affect your building, your roofs, or your shingles. And then also just getting rid of small trees before they turn into big trees. If they're not a tree you want in your yard, or if it's not even a good quality tree or something's wrong with it right off the bat, just get rid of it, plant something better if you want something different. But if you wait till it turns into a big tree, that's the bigger they get, the more price tag normally comes with them.
I thought about more work. We have an Airbnb in the family, and there's a dead tree right in front of the house. Or no, it's actually, it looks like it's dead because when it loses its leaves, right? But it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it blocks the garage almost to see the house. So we trim it back. And I'm like, nope, I can take that thing out myself. What are some of the risks I'm taking by doing that? Things I don't realize that I should definitely... Because you wouldn't mind if somebody wants to try it themselves, probably say, knock yourself out, and then you're still going to probably call us because that's what happens.
It's stuck on my roof. Can you come out and get it off?
But what's the process there for even a small tree? You got to trim it down.
The disposal of it, a lot of people don't realize, even just trying to, say, load up your pickup truck with a certain amount of brush. A lot of people that we work with can't sit and burn brush in where they live and stuff. They have to pack it in little bags. I don't know if you've ever even cut down a tree about this big and try packing it in a brown bag, putting it out by your road. That's going to be quite the feat. But it's hard to get rid of that amount of brush. It's a lot more work than what people understand that goes into it without the machinery that grinds it up and makes it into little wood chips, or machinery to pick up the wood and carry it for you instead of you cutting it up in small manageable pieces and then hauling it out.
Coty, you deal with this all the time. These grinders, excuse me, you're sticking in, I've seen these machines, wood chipping, what do they call these machines?
The wood chipper?
Wood chipper?
Or the chipper? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a valuable tool you guys have?
Oh yes, it comes in handy.
Why is it
we can pretty much mulch up almost a medium-sized tree into one big truck, and instead of just hauling it off into a trailer or, making several trips just with the trailer.
You don't want to try to do this on your own either. Okay, because I've, not to be too crazy again, but, excuse me, if you have a wood chipping tree, what's it called again? Wood chipper?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Wood
chipper. I've seen what these things do to trees. We got to care for those machines, right?
Yep.
You might be able to rent one of them, maybe. That's what I would definitely like. I ain't going to rent one of these things. You see what they do to a tree. You know, you get your hand in there accidentally. Mm-hmm. Is that the potential? You got to be really careful with these things.
There's safety features on them. There's, you got a button over here you can hit, or you got your bar there you can push back. And we stay to the side of it instead of just going straight in the middle and pushing it, because, there's potential that a piece of brush could grab your shirt or your jeans or whatever and pull you in there.
Okay. Again, that's what I'm just, not to, but man, be careful what you're doing here, because, and I have to say, guys, I got inside work with no heavy lifting. My dad would make the joke. That's why they made me go to computer classes, just because they were a little afraid of me. As a kid, I was climbing in trees. But hey, if we let the experts do the work for you, everybody, because that's what they get paid to do. That's what they have years and years of experience with, and experience is probably the most valuable thing you have in this industry. Why would you say the experience is so important?
You can have all the best equipment in the world, but if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to either break your equipment or still do damage to someone's house.
Or get somebody hurt.
You get somebody hurt, yes.
Nobody wants that. All right, well, a couple things to think about, everybody. Tell me then, as we get going on here, we're already halfway through show number 2, but how has technology affected the business? And technology is a chip grinder, or what is it called again?
Wood chipper.
Wood chipper. Come on, it's easy for me to remember. A wood chipper. Those I hadn't seen when I was a kid. I didn't see wood chippers. So how long have they had wood chippers by now?
Oh, I've had them probably since I've been born.
Okay, so they've been around, but that's another vital piece to your business. And then the lifts. What would you say if you had to pick one most valuable piece of equipment? What would the most valuable? So you can only use one thing today. I guess it depends on the job, but you say I don't even know what the job is. What's your most valuable piece of equipment?
I'd pick the chipper.
The chipper?
Yeah, because I don't want to, we can climb trees and stuff like that, but having to haul that brush and get rid of it, it would take you a long time.
It's a big hassle for that part alone.
Yep.
That makes sense, because so a lot of people, they may have shorter trees, and you can trim those without climbing too tall, right? Too high. So the lift is important for those really tall trees, which you got up there on the wall, everybody. But that's a very tall lift. It's on their Facebook page. But yeah, it's that pain. It is that big of a pain to take this lumber and get it out of here, and what you got to do with it, and where can you take it and where can you not take it, and you can't put it in front of your yard. You can't burn it. Down at the cabin, we could burn things, but not in most residential areas. You can't
most residential areas. And wood chips, you got to take those to people that specialize or want those types of products also.
And so then, can they buy their chips back from you? They say, hey,
they can have them back if they
have them back.
Yeah, we'll give them back for free.
Give them back
no charge.
Yeah.
You want these chips? They're yours. Well, we grind them up for you. So another thing. So now you make a little bit of money, because now you'd spend. I know I get those mostly in my house. I buy those lava rocks because they don't deteriorate over time, right? But they're not the prettiest. Wood chips are pretty though. Here's a bunch of them for you for free.
Maybe not ours.
Okay.
The ones, if we take ours, and you can take them to a place that actually works them and colors them. And
oh, really? You can do all that too?
They actually take them and let them rot, I guess is, I don't know if that's the right word.
Deteriorate over?
Yeah, let them deteriorate.
What do you call it? Yeah.
But they'll use our wood chips to make your fancy, nice wood chips for your landscaping and stuff. But it's fine if you're going to use it for gardening, things like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's really good use for these, because they talk about anything more natural that you could have. It's this tree needed to get in order. Got to get this tree in order. Everybody's misbehaving, but they don't do that on purpose, right? And so, but take those chips and even put them around. I would, hey man, if you come over to my Airbnb we've got, I might say, hey man, throw those chips over here. I'm going to do something with them, because that's not. Now we're being resourceful, not throw anything away. All right. So, but yeah, technology obviously has an impact on the way things are done. I guess another question I have, not to get too far into this, but my dad had a chainsaw. He's got the little bit bigger chainsaw. I saw the picture. I got to put that one up. You guys have a chainsaw. It looks like it's, how long is that thing? 8 feet? 6 feet? It had to be.
We got all kinds of different lengths of bars and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we got a 42-inch bar, and then 36 is what we normally keep on our main big saw for now. If it gets past that, then we'll have to go get the other big bar out. But obviously, you don't want to carry a chainsaw the length of your table around every day.
Well, that's the thing. Chainsaws are terrifying to me. Just like we saw the movies as we were kids, right? Friday the 13th or whatever. Anyway, which one was it? Anyway, but yeah, chainsaws are something you don't want to try to handle easily. And I have a little chainsaw. I broke out my dad's old chainsaw not too long ago. But be careful with that thing. And if you're a do-it-yourselfer, which I am a fair amount, but I'm not climbing trees with a chainsaw. That would seem almost insane. You guys are crazy, man. But you're good at what you do. You've been professionally trained, and somebody's got to do this. And the training that you have from the company you used to work for years ago has translated into something that gave you some great skills to do this the way you do it for now.
Keep us safe.
Just keep us safe. Safety first, everybody. Make sure you do things safe. So all I was talking about there was technology. But the technology these days has a lot to do with the safety as necessary for what you're doing here. This is a business that you must be safe with. Putting on a little TV show, just don't fall down when you walk in here because I don't want you to knock out the TVs. But other than that, there's not much risk with doing a TV show. But yeah, when you're cutting trees, yeah, important.
There's a lot of danger in it.
There's a lot of danger, as he says nicely. There's a lot of danger. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. Well, all right. Tell me then, give me an example or two, and don't name names, of course, but however you want to do this. I put you on the spot a little bit, but time when you really helped somebody. It was a tough situation. They had whatever was going on, and you came in and saved the day, because we like to hear those stories where it helps people understand. Good guys, number one, and two, these are the situations you might end up in, so that but make sure that you get it done correctly.
Had tornadoes and some straight line winds go through by our area, and people get trees that come through on their house, and until they get taken off, and we'll even go up there and put tarps on them and stuff, so basically the rest of their house doesn't get destroyed by water, moisture and stuff coming in, things like that, because if you don't get them off there in quick enough time, more damage can be done to drywall, ceilings, flooring. One person had a limb that went all the way through and was right above their bed. So
lots of stories. Coty, you've had a few situations where you're like, they were freaking out and you had to go, hold on, we got this. Can you give me an example of something you dealt with?
We've had a customer with trees on their house, like Robert said. I mean,
in the house.
Stalking car.
Yeah, I mean, we've had them on cars. We've had trees fall on cars. They couldn't even get to their car. You couldn't even see the car in the tree. Like it took us forever to get it out, but we got it out, and their cars were totaled. So
all kinds of insurance stuff going on there that you better make sure you got. All right, we got a few minutes left here. The process, let me cover that. So for those of you watching the interview, wait a minute. We're going to show you lots of great work that they've actually done. It's on their new website that we helped with, and it'll show you some good pictures, but just get some idea of what you're dealing with when you're doing this stuff. So, but first off, let's talk about it. All right, man, I get it. You guys know what you're doing. What's the process for somebody to get started with you? Pretty easy?
Yeah. Give us a contact on our, you can either contact through, I believe, our website. If you want to send an email, you don't want to make a phone call, I will end up giving you a call, though, to touch base with you and schedule a time with you that'll work for you. And we'll get together, and I'd like to, if it's pretty self-explanatory and you can't be there, I'll do my best to get exactly what you want, bid and stuff. If we can, I'd like to meet with the person so I can make sure I get everything they want done.
Behind us, there's that contact us today. That is at the bottom of the website here. If you want to fill that out. And then lots of information, reviews. There's those pictures we're going to go over in a second here. But there's the phone number. Click on that. Phone number is clickable on your mobile device, and you can then, that'll dial you up, go right to you guys.
Yep.
And then, so it's literally a phone call away.
Yep, we'll come out there. And,
or text.
Yeah, or text. And we'll come out there and I'll go over the different options and stuff that we can provide you as options for pricing and different things you want done around your place. And
what is the best way you prefer? I mean, I'm all text these days. I had somebody send me a text, and it took me an hour or two to get back because I was in the middle of a meeting. Call me if you need to talk to me immediately, but you get back to everybody pretty quickly.
Yes, we try to get back to you as soon as we can. We might be running chainsaws at the time, so we might not hear it, but we will get back to you. So if you do like to do text, that's an easy way for us to get back. But however, whatever you would feel comfortable with doing.
Right, but get a hold of these guys, and they will answer your questions. Probably any time of their day or night. Mm-hmm. Did you ever answer a text at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night and be like,
if they send me a text around then,
yeah.
I won't message them if they don't send me something at that time. But
no, I got you. That makes sense. But get a hold of people to make sure, get a hold of these guys. Make sure you see the phone number there, 618-623-2791, rc-tree.com. And we'll make sure that you get that information there for everybody. Is that cool?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so then we're going to finish up here with a little bit. I'm going to put on the screen here your website. I'm sorry, these pictures that we've got down here. So we'll go over there and all the way down on the wall behind us. All right, let's put these up for everybody to look at real quick. So right here, start off with what people. I got the wrong button there. That's the Facebook page. Here's the pictures that we got here. What do we got there with regard to what's going on? Walk me through a few of these pictures that people can see now, real quick.
All 4 of those pictures are the same job. Coty's up in the bucket, and we could only get so close. There is a big tree that is split. You can see some of the split in the first picture there. It's split down the middle. There's a ratchet strap on it holding it together. And we are disassembling it, but that's as close as we can get, and it's sitting between 2 houses. The house there you can see in the picture, actually, it was spooky because the people were there watching us through the windows and right underneath us as we were doing it. But with that split in it, it was going to go and just basically land on top of their house.
Gotcha.
But
that's something that, let me put that back up there for everybody, but that is something that you're high, how high up did you say you are here?
Oh, that was probably about 80 feet up in the air for sure.
80
That
feet
was a
in the
heck
air.
of a stretch too.
All right. And then things you got to be wary of, that don't drop it on the shed either. And we got a lot of stuff going on here.
yeah, the bottom 3 pictures on the right are we're able to take our machine, come down in between the gated fence there and the house, or the garage,
Yeah.
and pull back to the back where we took down the dead tree that's in the center there, that's next to their wood burning stove. And obviously with their wood burning stove there, they wanted their wood left
Okay.
because they can burn it.
Gotcha. All right. And more. But lots of good work you guys do. We had a couple pictures. I'm going to bring these up here. Tell me quickly, though, as we finish up, when somebody wants to make sure they got a job done right, how much lead time does somebody generally need? Can you do emergency stuff, obviously, but
Emergency
better
stuff,
give you a day or two.
If anything is in danger of hurting somebody, or has potential to do it, those get bumped up to the top of the list, and I'll sit and explain to the people, that when I do jobs for them, or if they're on a list, hey, this came up, they have a dangerous situation, I'm going to go help them first, and then I'll be to you next. And I don't really have anybody seems to have any problem with that. But yes, if anything's in danger, we will go to that and do that job right away and get that safe and secure for them.
Well, and that's what we're talking about. So I pulled up a picture here on the wall to behind us. That's a very, very tall tree.
Yes.
And that gives you an example of something when you're looking at trees. This thing was a little bit higher than the lift you got, but you got it done because you got it high enough to do it, I guess, obviously. How tall was that tree that you ended up having there?
I think it's about 95 to 100 foot tall. And it doesn't look like that in the picture. And you can't tell that it's leaning over the building in the picture from that angle either.
Oh, wow. Coty, what's it like working on these trees?
Oh, it gets exciting. It's fun. You learn a lot every day, really. I mean, we still learn. I mean, we do.
You better be learning.
No job's the same. They're all different.
Every situation's
trees
different.
on a house,
That one there.
Lots more to show. This one is the tree is behind us is put in a vertical position. The house itself is not crooked.
Yeah.
That's a tree that fell over. You can see what we're talking about there. Great stuff, guys. You guys really know your stuff. And there's that picture where you can see when it was a level picture, you can see what it did. Don't let this happen to you. Some of the stuff you can't control. Big flood storm, I guess, caused roots to pull up.
Yeah, that tree looked perfectly healthy. I mean, it's just the root ball came up out of the ground on them. I mean, there wasn't nothing they could have really foreseen on it besides it was just a big tree that was close to their house.
Experts here, everybody. Get a hold of them. RC-Tree. Call or text 618-623-2791. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Giddy up.